We're so excited to share all our Comic-Con Korra goodies with you. And, you know, this Korra fans are the best fans in the world. My name is Megan Casey, VP of Animation, Nickelodeon. Again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming to the panel today. We're, you know, super excited to share so much with you. And so first up, I want to bring on our master, our co-creator of all things wondrous and awesome and Avatar Korra, Brian Konecka. Couldn't be with us today, but he really wishes he would have been here because honestly it's been a long time since Korra's first trip to New York Comic Con, so we're super excited. We heard you guys wanted us to come here, and so Mike and Brian really said we gotta go. We really gotta make this effort to go to New York. So next up we have our co-producer, executive producer Joaquin Dos Santos. We're lucky enough to really bring some of our amazing voice talent to this room today, and so please give it up for, I mean, she's got it all over, Wonder Woman, Janet Barney. And of course, you know, Korra, she's all about tough love, being a tough chick, but she's a teenager, so she's got some struggles now and then, but we also have our lovely comedic relief to help her out through dark times and hard times. PJ Byrne as Bowling. Also known as Laptop, if you were watching. And then, you know, this is really just a really big moment for us today, too. We have a new member to our Korra family, and really he's sort of the father of everything Avatar. Please give it up for Stephen Young. Badges out there, so there's a lot of walking dead going on. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Brian, and we'll take it away.
Hey guys, thanks so much for coming, and I'm waiting in line too. It's huge. Great to see you. Yeah, Mike really wishes he could have been here. He is in India meditating to the spirit world and stuff. And he told me a monkey stole his rain jacket. So, but he sends his best, and we have so much good stuff to show you. We're just going to dive right into it. So, I just want to first welcome you guys. Thanks so much for coming. And yes, Steve, thanks for joining the Avatar. I think your biggest fan is right here. Joaquin's a huge fan of both the graphic novel and the series, so he was pretty stoked.
Thank you very much.
So, without further ado, do you guys want to see the first half of the Avatar origin story? So, in case some of you guys might have been at the con or something, the episode that set this up aired last night, and basically, Korra, so this hasn't aired yet, Korra has lost her memory and doesn't even know what the Avatar is. So it's really kind of all you need to know going into this. And she's dead. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, they were all dead the whole time. Alright, let's roll it.
Only the Avatar can master all 4 elements and bring balance to the world.
Husband Michael refused Korra's request to aid the South in the war of the water tribes. She headed to the Fire Nation, seeking a new ally against Korra. But unbeknownst to her friends, a dark spirit attacked Korra and dragged her into the ocean. She is lost up on a desolate island with no memory of who she is.
Steve did a pretty great job. So that was a story that Mike and I first had the idea for back during Avatar. I think around the 2nd season. I think it was around 2006 or something. Yeah, it just worked out. We didn't know how and when we'd be able to tell it, but it worked. It wove into the Korra season, book 2 story really well. So it was just the timing was right, and the whole team did such a great job of that whole Chinese ink wash and Japanese woodblock style. We had to create, for us, this whole new style guide and background painting style and the elements, the stylization of all that stuff. And it was crazy. The studio mirror animated that episode and the second part. They just did an incredible job. So we couldn't be more happy with it. We have some questions for our actors here, and some of them were submitted from fans via the Coronation Tumblr. So Joaquin and I are going to ask these questions. Janet, you're up first. Super Sure Thing asks, what is the most memorable act of fan love you have ever received?
Oh my gosh.
I love you!
That was it.
And we're done.
I can't say that there's just one. I would say that to me, the fan art that's out there, not just stuff that gets handed to me personally, but stuff that I see that other people show me that's online that you guys are creating, I'm just so blown away by. I mean, that's not just about people who are fans of mine, but just about fans of the show. I think the stuff that's being made by other people is just extraordinary and beautiful, and the time that goes into that. I mean, there's not just one. That stuff is out there, and it blows me away every time. So
yeah, and also we actually have hired 3 people in our crew that did fan art for Avatar and Korra before they hired the show. So actually.
Speaking of fan art, this is absolutely true. Mike and I created Avatar: The Last Airbender 11 years ago, 11 and a half years ago. And before it was anything, before it was even a pilot, we had made a series Bible that's like a kind of a book that describes everything and shows artwork. The first piece of Avatar fan art ever drawn was by my nephew Alexander, who was a little boy then. He's now 6'3". Stand up, Alexander. Much like you met the first Avatar 1, this is the first Avatar fan artist. Alright, we got a question for PJ.
Alright, so Avatar Korra. What are your thoughts on Esther and Bowen's relationship?
I think my wife loves the relationship. She likes the power that women have over me. I guess there's a tip for everyone. If you're in a relationship like that, do not be in that relationship. I'm intimidated by her. I think it's the most unhealthy relationship on television. And as Bolin, I hope to soon be out of it, but you don't know. I don't know. She owns me.
Awesome. Steve, were you familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender and/or The Legend of Korra before you auditioned for one?
Actually, yeah, I was.
I mean, it's okay if you say no. It's
No, I was. My friend Andy, who is responsible for putting me onto the Walking Dead comic before I even booked that, actually put me onto Avatar. He was like, you need to watch this. It's super good. And then as soon as I booked the thing, that's when I caught up on Korra.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm just glad to be part of this whole amazing thing. You guys are awesome.
Awesome. Did playing when you found out it was for the first Avatar, did that like carry any weight for you? Were you a little nervous about the legacy?
Yeah, I mean, you guys set up something so cool, and all I could think of was, how am I gonna mess this up? You know, you guys have been so gracious in like the direction. Andrew is so amazing. You guys are so amazing. I don't know. The show, I feel like it's like a family show, like in terms of all of you guys get together and like do creative work cohesively. So it reads on screen, so it's great.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks, Stinky.
So Janet, you've been playing Korra for 3 years. It's been a while now without us realizing how much time has gone by. How has it affected your career and your life and what's been like the overall effect of playing Korra?
My bending skills have definitely not. It's completely changed my life. This job is the best job in the world, and it's given me the opportunity to do a lot of traveling and get out there and meet you guys, meet fans of the show. I'm so inspired by the storytelling on the show. Nickelodeon's amazing. It changed everything. It's so funny. You think sometimes that there's going to be some job where like, I think for PJ and I both, doing on-camera and off-camera stuff, you don't know if maybe, at any point maybe you could be on a series like what Steve does, or, and so the fact that the most magical thing that's happened to me has been through Korra, I couldn't have seen coming, and it's better than anything I would have wanted for myself. So I just feel super privileged, and it's been a remarkable 3 years. I'm so grateful.
In case you're confused, 3 years, it takes a long time to make a show. Joaquin and I have been on it even longer, so we've been working on the episodes. And Janet's recording book 4 right now, so that's not
We do still ADR for 2, and then we do low work on 3, and then we're recording 4. So we have no idea what's going on anymore.
And then they get interviewed, and they're like, "So what do you think about where Korra is right now?" And they're like, "Where is she?" So PJ, you are a very funny guy in real life, but you do acting work that ranges from comedic and silly all the way to like really serious and dramatic, right? What is it like to jump between such drastically different roles from day to day?
It's a great question. Who said that's a great question? Great.
I asked you that. I wrote it.
You break up. You speak out loud very loud. Actually, what's it like? Okay, so I think it's great to do both, because let's say when I'm doing something in comedy, I'm reminded by the drama side to always be real and honest and true, and it always makes the joke pop more. And I think when I'm doing drama, I remember sort of the comedy side. It's like when you're doing comedy, you sort of want to like let your elbows out and try new things and say lines different ways. When I'm doing drama, I try to let my elbows out, because you don't always have to say dramatic lines so intense in one way. There's certain ways to make it interesting, so I kind of use both in both roles, so they're always living with it. But you always want to be honest and true, whatever you do, drama or comedy. And that is my answer to your great question. That's a great answer.
That is a solid answer. Yeah, I feel.
Big Steve.
You leveled them up. Yeah. Steve and PJ knew each other actually before they both worked on the series.
Not that way.
Right after San Diego Comic-Con, PJ texted me a picture of them at a barbecue. He's like, "No way!"
Steve, so you've done some voiceover work in video games and stuff before?
Yeah.
Weird, obscure parts and stuff. Is this your first animated project?
Yeah, and the video games, all I did was like choke number 5 or like choking 7, like how different can you choke? It was that stuff. So like coming into this, I took it pretty serious, because I knew what you guys had, and also working with Andrew, working with you guys, like it was really great. And this is the first animated thing, and there's a lot that's different. You have to kind of play a lot more, and because of the schedule of maybe sometimes not getting to work with the actors directly, and also the ADR sessions, it's a whole different ballgame. I'm still kind of wrapping my head around it. So, yeah.
What did you think about watching it with the fans? Watching the show with the fans?
Horrifying. I'm really sorry, but it was horrifying. But,
you were great.
Thank you.
Real.
For the record, you were awesome.
It says Mako asks, and I'm not sure if this is David Faustino wrote this question or if the character Mako has a Tumblr or something. Mako asks, do you have a favorite line of PJs/Bolin?
That's tough. I mean, I have one that always sticks in my mind. I brought it up before, but because I really hope I'm not wrong about this. But the whole "I want to be on your back" thing, it's like he just said that, right? Was that one in the very first when he's on Naga and he's like, "I want to be on your back."
Yeah. So if you guys, Steve said the phrase ADR. It's like I think it's additional dialogue recording, and some people think it stands for other things, but it's, we record the dialogue first, and then many times we have to go redo a line, or we rewrite it, or it wasn't clear, or we need a different take or something. And most of it is like choke number 6. It's like a lot of you heard Juan is like he's being hit by things. We have to add that stuff later. PJ always improvising. In episode 103, he gets picked up by Naga, and there's a rhythm to her gallop, and instead of just like, he's like, I want to be on your back. It's not really clear, you have to really listen for it, but yeah, that's a good.
It makes me laugh so hard, but that's a good example of pretty much anything that PJ does, just kills me.
So, PJ, same question. Marco asks, do you have a favorite line of Janet/Taurus?
Yes. Yes, I do. I have an answer for you.
My time.
I'm lying to you right now. The answer is no. There's one scene where we do. I think it's the first season where Bowman usually always gets the last line because there's something that his brain stuff keeps coming out. But there was one time where we're somewhere and you go, no, someone's around. It's like we're together, and then I think that means like we're together. And I'm like, so yeah, we're together. And then you go, you kind of look at me, and then I go, no, I didn't mean to imply that we were together. I'm like, no, you implied it. I'm like so mortified by that. I'm actually mortified to silence. I think it's my favorite part. No, you implied it. And I love you too.
Love you too, Steve. And Steve, as a viewer, now that you've seen yourself as an animated character, is it easier to separate your persona, yourself, from the character, from animation, or watching yourself in live action? Like, are you ever able to watch that character as if it's not you, or your ego is just too tight?
I did notice you were very emotional down there, by the way. You were very emotional down there. Like, you were like, I don't want to go down and watch it, I can't do it.
It might take like a second viewing for me to separate myself from it, but I don't know. I can't even watch Walking Dead with other people, let alone watch a thing where I'm not as experienced in with 1,000 people. So that was horrifying. But
you sound like a pro, man.
Thank you guys for helping me. But it was cool. I mean, it's cool to see the interaction and the fans, and also the animation is so beautiful, and that carrot was so cute.
Yeah. There's a little radish on his head in the teacup.
Are we allowed to ask you guys questions about some of the stuff that we just saw?
About a minute. You could ask for a minute.
Well, I'm so taken with all the spirits that we just saw, and I'm just wondering if you can give us any background and how some of those inceptions.
Well, I mean, obviously it's very inspired by Spirited Away, and we had Yvonne Freeman, who's an amazing artist, and she was like an artist fellow. There's Nickelodeon has this artist fellowship, and she was assigned to our show. And I just said, draw a bunch of spirits. And so she did the initial concepts for most of those, and then Designers at Studio Mir and Christy Sang, our in-house designer. They all just did some really work, and I did some.
And both Christy and Nolan did Korra fan art before they were hired on the show.
There you go.
And go somewhere, all you fan artists.
So, with our remaining time, we want to take you guys through. We've never done this before. From beginning to end, how we make the show. We're going to show you step by step.
Things that we never see otherwise. So we always try to muscle our way in because we know we're going to learn a bunch of stuff too.
And it's a clip from the 10th episode in the season, so you haven't even seen this yet. And you've seen a little bit if you've seen the trailer, the book 2 trailer. So Joaquin and I are going to walk you through this, and actors feel free to chime in. Obviously, everything starts with the writing. And on this season, there's Mike, there's Tim Hedrick, and Josh Hamilton, who were writers on Avatar. They're veterans of this world. And me as well, I've worked with them on the writing. Everything starts with just the writers sitting in the room, talking about ideas, and we break stories, and we have little like post-it notes and index cards kind of pinned up to the wall.
From my perspective, they look like crazy people. There's like, it looks like crazy scribblings on the wall when I walk in there. I'm like, what do you guys know?
And then we turn that into a premise, which is about our premise is pretty long. It's supposed to be about 1 page, but ours is about 5 pages. And then that gets turned into an outline. And kind of breaks down each sequence, what's going to happen. There might be little snippets of like rough dialogue, just kind of the idea in there. So this short, you can see how this short little, snippet will turn into this whole sequence. Then that outline gets turned into a script, which goes through many drafts. There's a table draft, the first draft, and I think the first draft comes after the table draft, which is weird, maybe it's the other way around. There's a record draft, animatic draft, there's just all these drafts.
And just to go back to the premise real quick, that's something that like the director will look at and just start being able to formulate sort of what their ideas are going to be for the show. So it really helps to sort of get the ideas down early.
So you can see that now the final dialogue is plugged in here, and then you have the action direction in between, and then it tells you the location, time of day. And those numbers on the side, that's what line number that is in the show. There's a little direction for how we want them to read it, like yelling after her. Janora, be careful, because we're imagining she's going to be further away, that kind of stuff. And then from there, the next thing we do is the dialogue recording. So nothing's been drawn for the episode usually at this point, and that's when we bring in our great cast. And when we can, we bring them in together. But the luxury of doing voiceover work is, you can kind of create an illusion that these characters are speaking to each other. A lot of times they're not even recorded in the same week, or even the same city. And in the scene that you're going to see, we've got the great Kiernan Shipka, who plays Janora, who's also on Mad Men, for any adults. And we have Janet Varney, and Dee Bradley Baker in this particular scene. Dee, man of 1,000 voices. He's for years done all our animal characters. He also played Tarlock in book 1, which is so weird because he's like the nicest guy in the world. But man, did he play a sleazy politician really well. So in this scene, he does a lot of our extra voices. And then you're gonna hear their dialogue. And then we take that script and the production staff breaks it down. They read through the script and they're like, we've never seen this location before. We need to design that. We haven't seen these spirits before. Those need to be designed. We need changes to the main characters. Do we have any props that they're interacting with? Are there special effects that we need to design? So all of that stuff gets designed. In this case, it's a pretty simple little sequence we chose. But you'll see how complicated that is. So we have a stock design of Korra, means we've done it in the past, so we can just reuse it. Stock design of Janora. Although for book 2, we made her a little bit taller. A little bit of time has passed. And then there's a spirit that passes by for one shot. That thing has to be designed. It's got to go through approval, cleanup. And then this was a first pass from our designer, Christy Sang, who we mentioned earlier. She turns it rough. I'm the art director on the show, so I take it in this case, I gave some notes on it. I said it's looking a little too cartoony. I wanted it to be a bit more of like a realistic, anatomical, butterfly character, but a little bit like kind of a spirit. So she took this other pass, and this thing starts as a flower and then turns into this butterfly. So we have to design it before and after. And then here you can see the cleanup. So then she goes in and does really nice clean lines so that this model can be easily colored.
And again, this is for a character that's going to be on one scene. Yeah, and it's really fun.
And you've got to describe the pattern to the animators, keep everything consistent from different views. It's crazy, it's a ton of work. And this is her first pass on these meerkat prairie dogs, which is funny because meerkats and prairie dogs look pretty similar already. The writer's kind of cracking up with that one. But I said it should look a little bit more like meerkats, so you can see my revisions here. And then she did the revisions and the cleanup, and you can see the final models there. And in this case, this is kind of rare for us. We wish this was the case on every episode, but we actually had a piece of concept art done ahead of time. Usually we're months behind on design. And Frederick Stewart, a great painter that works on our show, had done this awesome concept that he came up with completely for how he thought the spirit world would look. And we just loved it so much that we thought, oh, it'd be great to just set his scene there. So we retroactively, then we had the black and white design extrapolated from that. So we did this from his work. And then we go into Joaquin's department. As co-executive producer, he heads up the whole storyboarding side of things, which on our show is a big, big endeavor. And in this case, it was some artists from Studio Mirror that did the storyboards for this scene.
Yeah, and these are technically like our rough boards, but the artists are really, really talented over at Studio Mirror, and they turn in, I mean, it looks like a finished board already. It looks like a finished clean board.
Because they're animators and they just have a way they draw, and they're kind of drawing clean already. So you're going to see the sequence over and over, but you can see how just this short, few scenes, the amount of posing that we have to plan out, and so in these rough ones, you're going to see the action's a little different. Korra touches the flower, and it kind of quivers, but then she sees Jinora with this bunch of butterflies.
And just remember right now that it's a bunch of butterflies.
And then Korra runs after her, but this little meerkat guy pops up out of the ground and scolds her. And so then these are our clean boards. Again, that's just kind of their name. They're about the same level of cleanness. But so now this is after Joaquin and Ryu and Lauren and the director
and Mike and Brian have given their input to the storyboards.
So now you see that Korra touches this changes that the guys made. She touches the flower, and the flower turns into this butterfly, and it's giant, and it flies between Korra to Jinora. And Jinora gets really excited and runs off. And then you can see where Christy got inspired by the little cartoon butterflies. So she was sort of basing it on that. And then there's some other revisions to the action here. So now we're going to jump to the video clip right now. You're going to see we take the dialogue that our actors recorded and we cut it together with the storyboards, so we can get a rough idea of what the show's going to look like. Here we go. Don't worry.
Isn't it beautiful? Just stay close to me, okay? This seems nice, but you never know when you'll run into some dark spirits.
Look! It's like it's made of jewels. The spirits are so much more beautiful in their own world than they are at home.
Jinora, be careful! Hold on!
Hey! Watch where you're going, you giant clod!
Sorry.
Alright. We'll come back to this slide. So then we have the storyboard, we figured out the timing, we decided the scene's working, and now we have to color all the designs. And again, as the art director, it's my job to supervise this. So again, we had our stock color models for Korra and Jinora, and then we colored the spirits. We decided that this one's going to be transparent. We have to let that, the animators and the compositors know that. and we color the butterfly, and then because Janora says it looks like it's made of jewels, we do this little effects reference that it's going to have this kind of jewel pattern composited on top of it. So they have to know that ahead of time. And then we have our little meerkat guys. And then Fred, who did the original concept, now had to repaint the painting based on based on the drawing, based on what you get there. Anyways, so he did this beautiful, little tighter, cleaner version of the background. So this is where the locations, the scene's going to take place in this location. And then we do image boards. This is something that we added after Avatar. This is a whole step, which in this sequence is fairly simple, but we're planning out all the lighting because we want the shadows and the time of day and all of that stuff to match between the characters, the props, and the background. So we have to plan, the light direction and where the shadows are falling. And sometimes it's a creative choice too. So again, in this case, it was pretty simple. And then we send everything over to the overseas animation studio. In this case, it's a studio here in Seoul, South Korea. And the first step is they take those storyboards and now they blow them up. They clean them up and draw the characters a bit more on model and kind of detail.
Yeah, and the good thing again about having the animators having done the boards in the first place was a lot of the drawings that they had already done, they can just plop right in. So that Korra drawing is the same one from the storyboard, but the background and the perspective and everything is worked out much tighter at this phase.
And they put now, they have the design of the butterfly, so they put it much more on model from the storyboard. Detail out, the character and all the details on the ground. Okay, take it through here. So now we're going to get to the video. We're just going to show you all the steps from this point on. Now that they've set that up, so we can jump to the video now. You just play it straight through. You don't need to pause. So they have to take all of the layout poses and do key animation and then add in-betweens for everything. And the average episode of Korra has 15,000 of these drawings. So when you guys are complaining about how long it takes them, 15,000 drawings. And so these are the pencil tests. And you see how they're drawing the shadows, they're following the image boards, plotting out the light, where the characters are interacting with the backgrounds. Alright, so now we're going to go into the color animation. So the colorists in Korea and the compositing artists color everything and put the effects and the camera moves on it.
Isn't it beautiful? Just stick close to me, okay? This scene's nice, but you never know when we'll run into some dark spirits.
Look! It's like it's made of jewels. The spirits are so much more beautiful in their own world than they are at home.
Janora, be careful! Hold on!
Hey! Watch where you're going, you giant clod!
Sorry!
And then now we give this back and we give it to our sound design and our Foley artists. All the sounds have to be green. In this case, the footage wasn't much different, and this is the final picture and final mix.
Isn't it beautiful? Just stick close to me, okay? This scene's nice, but you never know when we'll run into some dark spirits.
Look! It's
staff put into this series. So thanks for checking it out.
Can we just give it up for these two guys?
Thank you.
So yeah, I just want to thank you guys again for coming, and if you can make it, we're PJ, Joaquin, and I are going to do a signing at the Dark Horse booth today at 2 to 3:30. Unfortunately, Janet and Steve are big rock stars, and they got to get whisked off to other cities and stuff like that. But we
Come
really,
see me do improv in DC tonight, everybody.
really thank you guys for joining us on the panel. We really appreciate having you here. I know the fans do too.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thanks for